Well, I'd like to say hello to my Order Your Steps audience. Hopefully, this is not your first visit with us. We are in the midst of the 2021 Moving Forward by Faith interview series, and I'd like to welcome Amber Brown. So you were settled in your career pursuits, and then in 2015 or so, something very interesting happened, which you kind of alluded to. But I would love for you to share your love story, especially the engagement announcement. I got a big kick out of that one. I really did.
It's so funny. We were just talking about this today. Funny enough, um, you know, me and Tim were working on stuff for the music department, and so we went out to dinner. It was me, him, and Lorraine, and we went out to dinner. And that was my first introduction to Tim outside of the church. And in my mind, I honestly thought that we were just going to have this brother and sister relationship. I did not expect to be now in here 2021 married and, building life together. I really saw him as nothing more than a friend. And so we finally came to terms with how our introduction happened, because he continues to think that I used to do these drive-bys. And I was like, because after church, everybody swarms to the piano and they settle there, they talk to him, blah, blah, blah. So I said, I would go over there, give him a hug, say hello, because I thought that was just polite. And apparently Tim was reading into it all wrong and thinking that I liked him. And I was like, I wasn't thinking that. I was just being polite. I remember why I went over there and did that, because some other member, she came up to the piano and gave him a hug, asked him how he was doing and stuff, and walked away. So I said, oh, well, I can do the same, be nice. I'm a hugger. Let's go. And so it was one of those Sundays after church, and we were outside. Spring had just broke, right? Winter had just left. It was the first Sunday. It was spring. It was nice outside. So we were all outside talking about football, and we were going in about the Eagles and the Cowboys and stuff. And me and Tim sat on the front steps of the church. And you could tell that at some point, everyone else around us kind of disappeared. And it was just me and him in our own little place. And sometimes we'll come out of that place to communicate with those around us, but we were just in our own little zone. And that's when I walked away from that going, crap. I think I've got myself into something. And so he called me up one day and he said, what are you doing tonight? I said, nothing really. I'm about to just go in the house. And he said, well, come over, let's order some sushi. And I was like, you can order sushi? I was just amazed by that. And he said he could order sushi. And we ordered sushi. We watched a movie. We sat there, laughed and talked for hours. And then finally I go home and I'm like, crap, I did it again. So we started unofficially dating. At that point, unofficially. But at the time, Tim was in another relationship with another woman. And so I told Tim, I said, well, I don't want to step on somebody else's toes. Because if you're in a situation, I don't want to interfere with that. And Tim said, okay, that's fine. And I say 2 days later, he tells me I ended that situation.
Well,
because I want to be with you. And I said, oh. And then again, I said, crap. So now for months, we're in this secret relationship. I didn't tell anybody. And I only told my best friend who lives in North Carolina, and I never gave her his name. I just said that I was dating this guy. And I asked her for advice, and she was like, "Well, what's his name?" I was like, "I can't tell you that because it's a secret."
Wow.
And so, you know, I went to, it was December of 2015. I had to go to Phoenix for work, and I was in Phoenix for 10 days. And every day, Tim, every morning I woke up because we were on different time zones. We were like 3 hours apart. And every day I woke up to a voicemail from Tim singing his sweet nothings on the on my voicemail. And I was like, oh God, this girl is schmitting at this point. And I said, and you know, I said to the Lord, I said, you know, what do you want me to do about this? What is happening here? Yeah. He was like, just wait. And then so on Christmas, we weren't together on Thanksgiving, but Christmas we decided to hang out together, you know, because it was Christmas and we hadn't spent Thanksgiving together. And so we said we were going to exchange gifts, and I was like, okay. And I brought him like a tie and some socks or something. And he sends me on a scavenger hunt through the house. And finally, in the canister in the kitchen is this little box. And I'm like, wow. What is this? And I open it, and he says, it's a poem that he wrote in there along with the ring. And he's like, will you marry me? And I said, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Oh.
And so, you know, I was like, crap.
Once again.
Well, here we are. So now I got to tell everybody, right? So I called my mom. I said, Mom, I'm engaged. Tim has asked me to marry him. And she's like, ah! She's like super excited. So I text my brother because he didn't care either way. He cared, but it, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so then we were like, okay, we texted people that were important to us. Mm-hmm. And then Tim was like, let's throw the rest of the people into a frenzy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so I said, okay, well, what are you thinking? So I said, well, let's just put on our Facebooks that we're engaged at the same time, but not say who we're engaged to. And when I tell you, it blew up. It blew. We were like over. People was calling me, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. You're engaged. Who is it?
Yeah, that was, yeah. I was among those. And so it was like,
wait a minute.
Yeah. And you know, and it's like, and of course, and I'm not on Facebook like that. I mean, I think the only reason why I got on Facebook was because of my business. And so, but it happened on that particular moment. I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and it's like,
everyone is like losing it. Who is this? And then you know who had it, got it like early was Charlie Brown.
I'm not surprised.
He's the one who put a comment, are you and Tim engaged to each other? And me and Tim are like hysterically laughing. Because you had some that were like, congratulations, and others that were like, what is going on here?
Nobody had a clue. I mean, I didn't have a clue.
Well, let me tell you, the Holy Ghost told a few people before we made it official. The Holy Ghost had snuck up and surprised us a couple times with a few people. One of them being Sabina Williams. She just walked up to us and said, you know, you guys look good together. And I was like, bye. I went running in the opposite direction. And another one was Elder Best. He was like, I knew already. And I was like, okay. But you know, everybody else was shocked
Wow. Wow. I can
And
imagine
it
it being
was
those two.
so,
I
that
can
was
imagine it
so
being those
funny. It was so funny, but I tell you what, it revealed a lot about some folks that we needed to get rid of in our
two. Oh,
life.
wow.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes, some folks were just not, they pretended to be happy, but they weren't truly happy. But
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody else was super
Yeah.
excited about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was super excited about it too.
Yeah. I can imagine. I can
But
imagine. But
it was the boom that
yeah, it definitely
nobody
was.
expected.
Definitely.
And little did they know we had been dating the entire year of 2015 almost. And they had no idea. And so
None.
people just figured that, oh, this happened so fast. But really, from like early 2015
Mhm.
until 2020, until not 2020, until that day, we have been dating. And
Mhm.
so it was an interesting experience to say the least.
I think you hit on another good point too, because when you enter a new season of life, you find that there are people that come into your life, and there are people that are going to have to go because they can't go into that new season with you, and
Yes.
that's can be a rude awakening at times, but you know it has to be done. So
I think through that season of leading up to our actual wedding day, I I learned a lot about myself.
mhm.
One thing about musicians in general, musicians, they can have a lot of groupies.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And I'm a woman who didn't hang around a lot of guys. I had a before I met Tim, I had a boyfriend for a long, long time. We had ended things about 2 years prior to when I started dating Tim. And I was just kind of, I have to say, I was just kind of like, okay, when these women just
Mm,
you have to be okay with what you are in that relationship. And I
absolutely.
told Tim off the break, I'm not going to give you my representative. I'm going to give you who I am.
Oh
You can
wow.
take it or leave it. Now, if you don't like it, let me know. If you want to dip out on somebody and cheat on me or whatnot, let me know. But don't string me along because I don't accept it. One mistake and I'm out the door.
Wow. Wow. That makes
I
it
was like,
plain. Yeah.
yeah, because you have to be very clear with what you want. And you can't, I feel like, especially in any relationship, I'm clear with what I expect at that point. I knew I wasn't going to take any type of cheating and lying and any of that. It's like I don't live like that. I wouldn't lie to you. I don't want you to lie to me. Tell me the
Mhm.
truth.
Yeah.
If Tim was to wake up tomorrow and say, Amber, I don't want to be married to you anymore, I'd be like, well, thank you for your honesty. Goodbye.
Yeah. 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 Well, you have to put it out there. I mean, don't
Yeah, you have to
assume
make it
that the
plain.
other person, understands because, well, it's only reasonable to expect. It's like, no, you need to say it so that there's
Yeah,
an understanding.
be clear.
Okay. I think you may have answered the rest. I don't know if you want to add anything to it. So now that you're here and you're 30 something, you have a rather challenging career. You're
Yes,
married to an elder, and
yes,
you have a growing ministry.
yes.
Um, how do you do it?
I
And what would you tell others that's
Jesus
attempting to
Christ.
do this?
Jesus Christ. I had to, because sometimes it's really hard. Tim is a minister, not only in song, but in word. And so, before the pandemic, we were at somebody's church almost every weekend. We were either singing, preaching, studying, doing some back and forth, taking, road trips. And we were either doing something for our home church or doing this and that. And, you know, I think the pandemic came and I was like, thank God. I can get a break.
Gotcha.
But then it became this virtual thing. So
Mhm.
now, Tim's ministering virtually and, doing studies and blah, blah, blah. And so now it's just a different type of busy. And now it's just happening from behind the computer screen. And then on top of that, I've moved into a semi management role with the company. So I'm in charge of an entire department and two people. So now I have to manage tasks in that way, something that I've never done before. And then on top of that, be a wife that cooks dinner and washes clothes and, you know, make sure that we're surviving and managing our budget. I found so much joy in managing our budget. I, we started the pandemic with no budget, and now we have this beautiful budget that I just absolutely love. I have so much joy in managing the budget. And so, I believe it's about taking time to, if I do something, I want to do it right. I don't want to do anything haphazard. And I'm learning, and I got a therapist because after my mom's death, it was just really difficult to deal with my emotions. But I'm learning that I'm only one person.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to say no. You have to. Not because, and I had an opportunity come past me a couple weeks ago, and I turned it down. Why? Because my plate is full. It is overflowing, and I'm fine with what I have right now. And I'm okay with walking away from an opportunity, because I always say, if God opens the door and it's something that if the door is open and you can't walk through it, the window is going the window is going to come, or you can just praise him in the hallway. While you wait on the next thing. And so, I never take an opportunity lost. I always say, if you need me as an advisor, I will help you. But if you want me to do something, it's a no for me. And you just have to be honest. I looked at, we keep a very tight calendar. We have, study 2 times a week. We have, actually 3 times a week, we are studying the Bible. We make time to Bible study together. Me and Tim went through our own personal study of Revelations. Just cause. And because I had a question, and it blossomed into us taking a Wednesday of every week and studying Revelations together. On top of that, having my personal space. I'm married, but I'm also Amber. I'm not always Tim's wife. so
say that.
I need to take my personal time. So Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes Sunday evenings, are just my time to be with myself. And I take that time. And I don't do nothing for the church or anything else. And you just have to. And I balance my life around that. And if I have to say no to something, I will. And it's a lot of opportunities that could come my way that I'm going to say absolutely to. And I'll have to rearrange this calendar at a later date. But I would only say yes if I can fully and truly dedicate my time to it, and it be great. So, now I work with the media ministry and social media platforms for God Glorified. And it's an interesting place for me, seeing as I constantly am fasting from social media myself, to now having to log in and, engage people on the social media of the church. So that's been interesting. And, Tim is always ministering. We're always studying the word in some way, shape, or form. Managing Zoom meetings for church, and then on top of that, working a full-time job.
Well, and you're
So,
still just one person. Yeah, I hear you.
and I'm only one person. And all I can do to keep myself healthy and sane is be willing to turn down some opportunities and only taking on what I feel I'm comfortable with. Not every project is for me. Not every
Hmm.
project needs me, and so I just have to, know when to say enough is enough. And that's how it's managed.
That well, I tell you, that was I've enjoyed this immensely. I mean, I could let you just talk forever. Yeah, because I just like to hear it, and there's a lot. Um, I know a lot more about you just in this conversation. I knew a lot of it already.
Uh-huh.
Um, Probably more than you think I know, because I think there's always been that connection with us before we
Uh-huh.
knew there was one.
Yes.
But I definitely have enjoyed this time with you, and I'm sure my audience has as well. Um,
If it just helps of one person to see that, life is, even in your 30s, it's not that bad. People feel like when they turn 30, they old. And I was like, I feel like I've opened up myself more in my 30s than I ever have in my life. I've experienced the most trauma, but the most beautiful moments in my 30s. And so if a woman out there just hears my story and it uplifts her to go about her journey and set her own rules, then it's more than worth it. I enjoy helping people understand and get through life. It could be, it's so much that I would love to share with others, but I just ain't got time.
you still have to know when to say no. I got
But
you.
I appreciate this opportunity to sit down with you, because like you said, I can talk to you for hours about everything on my mind. So I greatly appreciate this opportunity to share with your audience, you know, my journey in my life and how interesting it is. And how I balance some of these complex situations that I find myself in. So I am very appreciative.
Well, thank you. That is the perfect closing to our interview. I think that, those words of wisdom to my listening audience is more than I could have ever asked for.
I love you so much.
I love you too. I love you too. So, to my Audio Steps audience, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope you will continue to listen and watch our videos. I hope that you would also share. Everyone has a story. And we're hoping that you will comment and actually actively participate with us. Always remember, your steps are ordered, and just keep moving forward by faith.